Hello and welcome. In this session, I will talk about CDP, which is an acronym for Chrome Debugging Protocol. It's a new Selenium 4 API feature that's designed for debuggers. All browsers built on the Chromium platform has an option for developer tools. Therefore, another name for CDP can be called Chrome DevTools Protocol. If I go to Chrome, then click this vertical ellipsis, navigate to more tools, and at this point we see developer tools. DevTools is short for developer tools. Click and we see a few tabs. Elements is the most popular tab for automation, but we also have console, sources, network, performance, memory, application, and security. It's the same panel if I right click a page and then click inspect. Microsoft Edge also has the same tabs after accessing developer tools. We click this ellipsis, more tools, and here's developer tools. Selenium 4 provides a way for us to take advantage of Chrome and Microsoft Edge's debugging protocol. Let's look behind the scenes at the classes and methods. Starting with the Chromium driver. We see the Chromium driver class. Open the type hierarchy. Notice the Chrome driver and Edge driver classes are both under the Chromium driver class. That's because Chromium driver is the parent. However, Chromium driver is a child to the parent remote web driver. In a nutshell, Edge driver extends Chromium driver, and Chrome driver extends Chromium driver, but Chromium driver extends remote web driver. There's a lot of methods in the Chromium driver class, but two methods allows us to control developer tools in Chrome and Microsoft Edge. Those two methods are execute CDP command and get dev tools. The execute CDP command allows us to directly execute a Chrome dev tools protocol by passing in a parameter for that command. Get dev tools is a method that returns dev tools. Dev tools is a class that has methods to handle developer options. We see close, send, add listener. Know what? Let me go back to the Project Explorer and look at the methods for dev tools. Here are the methods within dev tools. We see add listener, clear listener, close, create session if there is not one, get CDP session, and send. We see a lot of methods for dev tools. That's because we can do a lot of things with CDP. I'm going to show you how to view the console logs when it comes to CDP. Also how to mock a geolocation and enable the network speed. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next session, starting with view console logs. If you're interested in more videos, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. Also follow me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'll see you again in the next session. And thank you. There are two objectives for viewing a browser's control panel. First is to execute JavaScript. Second is to view messages logged by the browser or logged by the developer. In this session, our focus will be to view messages logged by the browser. Most of the times, we view the console logs to get details about an error. With those details, we can identify the root cause of the problem. Our AUT is this Lego page, and Control-Shift-I is a shortcut to the Developer Tools panel. In the Console tab, we already have some logs because the page has already been loaded. We can clear the logs, reload the page, then watch the logs show back up. DevTools failed to load source map and HTTP error status code 404. The Developer Tools class in Selenium 4 provides a way to listen to these logs, which has 4 log levels: verbose, info, warning, and errors. Verbose is not checked for default. Therefore, the messages will not be wordy. It won't have many words in the message. Info means the logs will have important information about an event. Warnings indicate a strange condition might cause a problem with operations. Errors let us know a condition is likely to cause a problem with operations. Now, for our test script, Chrome driver is set up and the window is maximized. Start by writing @test public void view console logs. Let's add some steps, but write them as comments. First, we get the DevTools and create a session. Let me correct this right quick. I don't want to misspell it. Then send a command to enable the logs. Next, we add a listener for the logs. Finally, we load the AUT. To get the DevTools, we must cast the driver if WebDriver is our type. We cannot directly write driver.getDevTools. Notice getDevTools is not available. We have to cast the driver by writing Chrome driver, driver.getDevTools. If you want to directly write driver.getDevTools, we must change the type to Chrome driver. Now I'm going to start over and write driver.getDevTools. Do you see how getDevTools return DevTools? That's an indicator this statement must be assigned to DevTools with an object reference of any name, but I'm going to write DevTools. Now we have access to all of the methods I mentioned in the introduction. Before we perform any more steps, we must take control of the Developer Tools panel in the browser by creating a session. DevTools.create session. The purpose of this statement is to start a session in the Chrome browser. Next is to enable the logs in the console. DevTools.send. Send is a method that has built-in commands and accepts command as a parameter. It allows us to interact with the developer tools. Log.enable allows us to listen to the logs in the next part. But for here, we see log.enable is one of those commands for the send command, for the send method. Log serves as a representation or model for the CDP command. Now that we have the logs enabled, this is the part where we go and listen for the logs by writing DevTools.add listener. Once again, we write log, but this time it's an event for entry added. log entry, and a lambda expression. To use this lambda expression, you must have Java 1.8 or higher. Let's print, let's print some of them log entries. And I'm gonna start by writing S out for log entry dot as Selenium log entry. This is where I notice a difference between Selenium 4 Alpha 1 and the current version. I changed my pom.xml file to use the version for Alpha 1. Alpha 1 has as Selenium log entry for a method. In this screenshot, we see Alpha 6 does not have as Selenium log entry for a method. Alpha 6 is not the most recent version. However, Alpha 6 and the most recent version added more methods, although as Selenium log entry is missing. So they don't have as Selenium log entry as a method, but it added more methods. Alpha 1 does not have methods get args, get line number, get network request ID, get stack trace, get URL, and get worker ID. Go back to my IDE, and here's my pom.xml file that shows Alpha 1 for Selenium 4. I'm going to add some hyphens. And then add some more log entries. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 or so hyphens. And the log entry I'm going to add now is source. Log entry dot get the source. I'm going to copy this and also get the source for, get it for a level. There it is. And change source to level. Let's add maybe 2 more log entries. Change level to text and change get level to get text. Change level to timestamp and change get level to get timestamp. Okay, last but not least, we're going to load the AUT to view the console logs. Driver.get. And I think the URL is https://www.lego.com/404. Let's run. It passed. In the console, we see some of the same information because that method as Selenium log entry combined different log entries. And we also printed the individual entry. For example, it has source as network, level equal to error, text equal to failed to load resource, and the timestamp. That's it for capturing the logs using Selenium 4 CDP, and I'll see you in the next session. If you're interested in more videos, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. Also, follow me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. The transcript and code will get placed on GitHub, and I'll see you in the next session. Thank you. In this session, I will show you how to mark a geolocation using Selenium 4 CDP. Mark means imitate, and geolocation refers to the geographical location of a device connected to the internet. The device can be anything, a phone, laptop, or even a watch. We use geolocation for events like finding the location of a place. On Selenium site, we see Chrome DevTools. emulate geolocation. Description and code to emulate the geolocation. The description, it says some applications have different features and functionalities across different locations, but with the help of DevTools, we can easily emulate them. Depending on the application, we can see different information because the application is in a different location. With this help of Chrome DevTools protocol, the application can have the same information after marking the geolocation. We can mark, well, this site says emulate. We can emulate the geolocation by making our browser be in the same location. As a result, the application will have the same features and functionalities we are trying to test. For example, I live in Texas, but on my project, I work with people who live in India. If our application showed different information in India, then I would change my location to be in India. For this test, I am going to make my browser be located in the capital of India. In this pom.xml file, I changed my Selenium 4 version to Alpha 7. From scratch, I'm going to write add test, public void, mark geo location. Set up our browser by writing WebDriver Manager .chrome driver .setup. My typing not going good so far. Hope it get better. Chrome driver is the type, and driver will be the object. Chrome driver will be the browser, and we're going to maximize it by writing driver.manage.window.maximize. There it is. Driver.exec. Notice how execute CDP command has string command name and map for the parameters. In the sample code, the command is emulation.set geolocation override and coordinates for the map. The coordinates are latitude, longitude, and accuracy. For more information, we can go to GitHub. The URL is chromedevtools.github.io/DevTools protocol. Search for geo. And we see emulation.set geolocation override with a description that says overrides the geolocation, position, and error, or error. We see all three parameters: latitude, longitude, and accuracy. I'm going to set my geolocation to be at New Delhi. And we see the coordinates are 28.6139 for latitude and 77.2090 for longitude. Latitude is always first. We see N for latitude because the direction is north or south. E for longitude because direction is east or west. Our application under test is where am I right now? I guess this site is accurate. The location is half a mile from my house. We see TX for Texas. Now let's go ahead and complete our script. First parameter is string command name. We saw emulation dot set geo location override. Hope I spelled it right. The second parameter was a map. And Selenium site, I'm gonna copy this code and just paste it to our code. And change latitude to 28.6139 6139. And I think the longitude was 77.2090. Leave accuracy at 1. Now I can pass in coordinates. Bingo. Last step is to load the application under test, and that is driver.get. String name is, let me go back and just copy it because I do not remember the string name, the URL. Bingo. And paste it. Now, let's run. The test passed, and that's it. We see new Delhi for location. We see latitude and longitude. Also, here's the map. That's it. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session when I enable the network by simulating the speed of the network. If you're interested in more videos, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. Also follow me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook, and I'll make sure to place the code and transcript on GitHub. The network panel is another way to debug a problem. It has logs to help us troubleshoot the problem. We mostly use the panel for 2 reasons. One reason is to inspect the network properties of a resource. Another reason is to make sure our resources are downloaded and uploaded as expected. When testing an application, it's easy to forget or not think about a user with a weak connection. Therefore, we are going to automate how to slow down our internet connection. In the network panel, there is no available request. It's empty because we must open the panel before performing an action. That's how we preserve the network traffic data. Refresh the page, and all of the network activity shows up in the network log. Each row in the network log represents a resource. Do you see 69.2 KB transferred? That's the total download size. This network throttling dropdown is how we emulate different connection speeds. We see fast 3G, slow 3G, and offline. In this session, I will automate a 3G connection, but next session, I will take the network offline. Select any preset, and the DevTools display a warning icon beside the network tab. For our test script, I have the setup method for edge driver. Let me also add driver.getDevTools. Assign it to DevTools. Also write DevTools up top. Enable the network to slow down by writing @test public void enable slow network. Start by creating a session. DevTools.create session. Then we send a command to enable the network by writing DevTools.send network.enable. Optional .empty. Let's write this statement 2 more times. This complete statement makes it possible to deliver network tracking and events to the client. All of the parameters are optional .empty because they are not required. In fact, the first 2 parameters are experiments. Next is to emulate network conditions. We can go to GitHub for the method and parameters. Search for emulate. At the bottom, we see network.emulate network conditions. It activates emulation of network conditions. The parameters are offline, latency, download throughput, upload throughput, and connection type. Connection type is the only optional parameter. The method we wrote for enabling the network is right here. And we see all three parameters are optional. Max total buffer size, max resource buffer size, and max post data size. If I hover, the tooltip shows this may be changed or removed. For our test script, let's complete it by writing DevTools.send network.emulate network conditions. We want the network to stay online, so we set offline to false. Bingo. Latency is 150. Download throughput is 2500. Upload throughput is 2000. Next is the connection type. So we write optional dots of connection type dot. And we see different options. We have Bluetooth, 2G, 3G, 4G, and somewhere in this IntelliSense we should see Wi-Fi. Let's go ahead and select 3G. And add the semicolon to complete the statement. Okay, let's also compare the time between this slow network and the normal way by loading an application. And you know what? Before we compare, we must load the application for LinkedIn. I got ahead of myself. www.linkedin.com. I think that's it. You know what? Let's also print the page title. Slow driver.get title. Now, let's go ahead and load LinkedIn the normal way. I'm gonna show this also, the code. Add test, public void, access LinkedIn. And all I'm gonna write is driver.get title. Get HTTPS colon 3 W's LinkedIn.com. My typing is super bad this time. Access plus driver.get title. I think this is everything. I think so. Let's go ahead and run. Both tests passed. The console shows access LinkedIn loaded in 2 seconds and 478 milliseconds. Enable slow network took longer to complete. It finished in 50 seconds and 60 milliseconds. Both test scripts show the page title. That's it for slowing down the network to a slower connection. Next, I'm going to show you how to take the network offline. If you're interested in more videos, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and clicking the bell icon. Also follow me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. The transcript and code will get placed on GitHub. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session. In this session, we are going to enable the network to be offline. It's very good when an application has functionality to continue working offline. There are many reasons for an application to be offline, such as bad weather, a power outage, or even driving into a dead zone. Here's our application under test. Most of the times I use Chrome, but not this time. For some reason, Chrome does not include the same offline functionality as Microsoft Edge. I'm going to right-click, inspect, and go to the Network tab. The Network drop-down, throttling has different options. We're going to select offline. Refresh. Yes. And notice the message says you are not connected. And it also shows internet disconnected. A lot of applications stop right here and do not let us continue. However, we can still perform an action while offline. Do you see want to play a game while you wait and this launch game button? Let's inspect this launch game button. And we see the ID value is game-button. Now, at this point, we're going to do the same steps in our automation. In our test, we're going to set the network to be offline, then click this launch game button. It's a surf game. For our test script, I already have Edge driver, DevTools, and the setup method for Edge driver. It's from the last session when we slowed down the network connection using 3G and access LinkedIn. Now let's write at test, public void enable offline network. We always begin by creating the session. DevTools dot create session. This will start a session in the Edge browser. Next is to send a command so we can enable the network. DevTools dot send network dot enable. The enable method has 3 parameters and all 3 of them are optional. Therefore, we write optional dot empty, comma. And I'm going to write that 2 more times or paste it 2 more times and make sure to add the semicolon. If I hover enable, the description shows enables network tracking. Network events will now be delivered to the client. Those 3 parameters are buffer size, max total buffer size, max resource buffer size, and max post data size. After enabling the network, we are going to send a command to emulate the network conditions. DevTools dot send network dot emulate network conditions. Hover the method, and this shows activates an emulation of the network conditions using 5 parameters. The 5 parameters are offline, latency, download throughput, upload throughput, and connection type. I don't see it here, but connection type is optional. Now, let's go ahead and continue with our test script by writing the value for offline, and that value will be true. This means yes, the network will be offline. 10 is the value for latency. Latency is sometimes called lag. It's a delay in communication across the network. 100 for the download throughput. 50 for the upload throughput. Throughput refers to the amount of data that's transferred from the source to the destination. For connection type, we write optional dot of connection type dot. And we see the different G connections, but let's select Wi-Fi. And I gotta make sure to add this semicolon. Now let's add a listener and what we expect. And we write DevTools dot add listener. At this point, I'm going to write some data inside the add listener, some parameters. And that starts with loading failed, comma, loading failed. And we are going to select the example with the lambda expression because there are two options. Now we write assert equals. And inside assert equals, we're going to write loading failed. And we're going to select the one that do not have parentheses. Dot get error text. Bingo. Remember when we saw internet disconnected after setting the network to offline, then refreshing the page? That's what we expect. So I'm going to write net 2 colons ERR underscore internet disconnected. And I hope I spelled it right. The last step is to load the page. Since it's offline, let's try to load the page by writing driver.get. The value is https://3w google.com. Next is to catch the possible exception. That exception is WebDriver exception, exe, and click the button by writing driver dot. Yes. Do you see the extra find element by options? We have these options because our type is Edge driver. It's been available to us for a long time, the same with Chrome driver and Firefox driver. However, they're supposed to be deprecated for Selenium 4. I spoke about this in the introduction to Selenium 4, the first video. I'm going to select driver.findElement by ID. The value was game hyphen button dot click. Also, print the page. Print the page by writing offline driver dot get title. Let's go ahead and add this part here in parentheses or quotation marks that says page did not load. That's it. And let's run. It passed, and we see the game. Now, for our console, let's see what it shows. Enable offline, and we see the console showing offline www.google.com, and the page did not load. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next session. I create videos every week. And if you're interested in videos that I create, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. Also follow me on Twitter, connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook. and I will make sure to place the transcript and code on GitHub. And I'll see you later. In this session, our focus will involve loading an untrusted website. Depending on your browser, there will be a different message, but it all comes down to a security issue. It's recommended we do not visit the site. However, there may be a scenario for us to test this type of application. On Firefox, the message says, "Warning, potential security risk ahead." It's letting us know that an attacker could try to steal our information. Chrome has a similar message about attacker might be trying to steal your information with the heading that says your connection is not private. Edge has the same message as Chrome. Our automation test script will ignore these security warnings and load the page. If I click the advanced button, we see a link that says continue to self-signin.badssl.com unsafe. Click this link and the self-sign.badssl.com site loads without a problem. GitHub has more examples just like this one. We see 5 sites that have subdomains that will generate the same type of warning. For our test script, it's already been set up for Chrome driver and DevTools. The last statement assigns get DevTools to DevTools. Let's start by creating a method with add test, public void. Name the method load bad website. Next, we create a session with DevTools dot create session. Now we are going to send a command to ignore the certificate error. DevTools dot send security dot security provides access for us to set ignore certificate errors. This statement is similar to clicking the advanced button and the unsafe hyperlink. We pass in a Boolean value of true. True is another way of saying we trust the website, so it will successfully load the page. That's it. Last part is to load the AUT. Driver dot get. And I think the website is https://self-signed-badssl.com. The key is ignoring the certificate error by passing in true. A negative test case is pass in false, which will not load the untrusted website. Now I'm going to paste the code from what we just used to ignore and change true to false. Change the name from load bad website to do not load bad website. Let's run. They both pass. One browser shows self-signed badssl.com and the other browser shows your connection is not private. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next session. If you're interested in more videos, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon. Also follow me on Twitter, connect me on LinkedIn and Facebook. The transcript and code will get placed on GitHub, and I'll see you again.
Books available in paperback, ebook, and PDF. All Part 1 ebooks and PDF documents are free. Programming books for UFT. Programming books for Java. Here's the Selenium automation book. And TestNG. Subscribe to get notification of future videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.